Let's see who's here. All the big people are here. That's good.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Wow, look at you all exciting
Hi
tonight.
there.
How are we?
I wore another Hawaiian shirt since so many people love my last Hawaiian shirt from the cruise line. I'm pretending
Did love it.
I'm pretending I'm on a cruise ship again.
Dr. Bukowski, I love the fireside chat.
Thank you. I am sitting on the floor, like as I do, and I figured this was going to be my best bet for the evening.
It's absolutely hilarious with the fire behind you and the wood stacked up next to you.
It's for the evening, so then I figured that way when, yes.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Very good.
I'm trying to read.
Mr. Forsyth, it's been like, I don't know, 24 hours spoken. It's crazy.
Gotta raise my computer up a little bit here. Give me a little height there. Everyone looks really nice in their living rooms and in my messy office.
You have a lot of stuff behind you. I kind of want to do a tour.
No, it's my I set up as I use it for streaming, so it's all my Disney and cruise wares on the shelves. If you look close, you can. I don't have all the lights on. Maybe I'll put the lights on for the regular board meeting.
Okay, all right.
It's where I do my vlogs from.
Okay, very cool.
So is it just me?
Jason's here, Debbie's here.
Are you seeing? I'm only seeing. Okay, I'm not seeing all of them. Okay. Oh, I guess I have to do it this way. Oh, there they are. Hi, Jason. Hi, Debbie.
Hello.
Oh, Debbie's at work.
Wait, are you ever not at work?
I know that office, Debbie.
And it's definitely not worth touring like yours is. And no, Maggie, I am usually at work.
I heard that's really unhealthy to be a workaholic. So I
Okay.
I don't consider it workaholic. I just consider it fending off the wolves.
Yeah.
Let me see if I raise my computer just a little bit more.
Has anybody heard from George?
I know he said he's coming.
Okay.
I talked to him earlier. He said he was coming. What time is it? He's
It's 4:30.
still have like 30 seconds. 10 seconds. I'll give him another minute and we'll start. It's my root beer. It's my my
What
root beer.
did we just crack open?
Mug root beer. I want everyone at home to see I'm drinking mug root beer. Nothing.
Okay. Is that a Coca-Cola product?
On second thought, I'm drinking Sam's Club water. Hold on. Oh, no. I'm drinking Dasani water.
Dasani water.
Yes, Dasani water. Yes.
There you go.
I have one of every flavor just to make me safe.
I want to know how many beverages you have right there, all queued up. You are well hydrated.
I have to. I'm ready for this marathon. Marathon at my desk tonight.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Well, we'll give him one more minute. How about that?
That's fine. Oh, hi, George.
I hear you,
Hi,
George.
Wow, George, we'll use your office flag as a pledge of allegiance. How about we do that?
That's fine.
All right. I guess we're all here then, right?
Yeah.
Are we are recording, so we can start, right?
We are recording. Yeah.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting of the Policy Review Committee to order and ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have roll call, please?
Hey, George Andrews,
Present.
Jason Gulstrand,
Present.
Keith Carcutt,
Present.
and Debbie Kulik.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along to the adoption of the agenda. I have a motion to adopt this agenda for February 23rd, with members of the committee reserving the right to add to the agenda and take further action as the committee deems appropriate. There was no meeting held in January.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting. Okay, moving right along. Approval of minute. Oh, I know that was, yeah, that's this agenda. No, I vote yes on that one. Sorry, wrong one. I vote yes, Patricia. Sorry.
Or
Moving right
Deb,
along
or
to
Deb.
Debbie.
Oh,
Not-
Deb, I'm sorry.
Not Patricia.
I'm sorry, Deborah. I'm sorry. Hi there. I see
Okay.
you. I'm just so nervous on this. Didn't do a lot of Zoom calls like you all did in the past. Sorry, this is only my second official Zoom meeting. Let's see. Motion to approve the minutes from December 15th, 2025. There was no meeting held in January.
So moved, Debbie.
Second, Jason.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting. Right, going right along to policy review for discussion, recommendation for first read. It is policy 204, attendance. I'm going to dig it out here. Let's get back to me, make sure I make my page mark here so I can go back to that. Okay, so it looks like when I looked through it, there was on page 3 and 4. And just for verification, green is what we are adding, correct?
Correct. We did discuss this previously at the December meeting, the green section on extended bereavement leave that we had already approved, but then in the interim, PSBA came out with one other update that you'll see on the next page that has to do with habitually truant students not being permitted to transfer to a cyber charter. So that language on that next page is new.
Okay, so the other 2 pages before have already been discussed.
And
Correct.
approved,
And-
correct.
Right, so what we did was we approved this at policy, but then a new PSBA briefing came out because school code changed with the budget pass. Which is really what you'll see in almost all of these policies is that school code changed, and these are reflecting school code changes.
Okay, so we're adding include a description of the consequences if the student becomes habitually truant. We're adding number 2B in the mode and language of communication preferred by the person in parental relation, and include notice that a habitually truant student may not transfer during the school year to a cyber charter school unless a judgment determines that the transfer is in best interest of the student, and include resources available to assist the student and the person in parental relation with returning the student to compliant compulsory attendance and opportunities for academic recovery in response to the truant behavior. When the notice is transmitted to a person who is not the biological or adoptive parent, it shall also be provided to the student's biological or adopted parent. If the parent's mailing address is on file with the school and the parent is not precluded from receiving the information by court order. So I assume that's all basically because of the law.
So basically what it's saying is that we have to notify families when truancy becomes a concern. So in our notices of when students are truant and they're have multiple unlawful absences, we have to make sure that we're informing our families that they can't just pivot to cyber charter, that they will not be accepted if they are considered a habitually truant student. So this is just making sure that we're informing our families.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What types of resources would we advise would be available? I'm just curious.
So for resources, we do everything from children and youth into like parenting classes to help parents deal with children of getting them to school rather. We do social services or counseling for students. We do a root cause analysis to understand why students are not coming to school. We set up attendance plans, so SAIPs, SAPEs, to address the issue. We do reward charts for students to increase attendance. It's all of the things that we naturally do to try to get a child to be in attendance more often than not.
It does not include repairing a car.
No?
Okay, I'm just asking. If someone might ask that question.
Yes, no, it would be more on the supportive measure, not the financial measure.
Okay, that's the part I wanted to nail down.
You could have saved me a lot of words. I apologize.
I was enjoying listening to the litany.
Sure.
Okay, you had a statement, a question?
I had a quick question. When it says, not permitted to transfer to cyber charter school, does that omit, Isaka?
No, because Asaka is not a cyber charter school.
That's what I
Asaka
wanted to
is a
make sure.
public
So it
education school.
omit- So it worked completely.
Correct.
Excellent. Very good. Perfect. Thank you.
I was
Yep.
thinking the same thing, Jason. All right, moving along, then the next 2 pages later, we are still talking about habitually truant students. Unless a judge determines that it is the student's best interest and a habitually truant student will not be permitted to transfer into a cyber charter school during the school year. Even though it said it there another page earlier. That's it. Any questions on that one? Okay, and then we're moving right along to, I'm just going to keep following to weapons. Deborah, you said some of these were added because of the new law coming out now?
They're all because of the new law. So this is notification to families when there's a weapon on school property or at a school event.
Okay, so would the committee like me to recite all the adding of the reporting? Or is it sufficient to read it?
I think you can summarize it.
Okay. Well, let me start with the first paragraph. Upon determining that a reasonable suspicion of possession of weapon exists, and in an effort to preserve a safe school environment, the school principal or designee may search a student's locker, clothing, book, bags, vehicle, or other property in the presence of a witness. Should the student refuse or resist such a search verbally and or physically, the school principal or designee may continue with the search to protect the well-being and safety of the school population under the doctrine of in loco parents. Upon investigation and or confiscation of any weapon and or look-alike weapon, the school principal or designee shall promptly report the incident to the superintendent. Okay, right off the bat, I'm confused on why we're putting all the responsibility on the school principal when we have a school police department.
Oh, so this is school law 101, Mr. Carcutt. So police need, I feel like Jason should answer this question. Police need probable cause in order to search a child. We need reasonable suspicion. It's a lower threshold. So the school police should never be searching a child. We should always be searching because it's reasonable suspicion over probable cause.
Okay, that solves that one. I'm going to continue. Law enforcement incident report. The school principal and or designee shall immediately report incidents involving weapons on the school property and any school sponsored activity, and on a conveyance or providing transportation to or from a school or school sponsored activity to the law enforcement agency that has jurisdiction over the school's property, in accordance with state law and regulations and procedures set forth in the memorandum of understanding with law enforcement and board policies. And then we're going to go on. I'm going to read them. This is very important, I think.
Okay, I can summarize.
Can you summarize them for us?
Yeah, so basically the next part is direct involvement. So what it's saying is that families would be notified if it's in the school building. So if it was at North Campus, North and Lehman students would be notified and families. If it was at Middle Smithfield, just Middle Smithfield families. It is not the entire district notification. And then it goes on to what would have to be told. And basically it's a weapon or lookalike and how that process would be.
Okay.
That it has to be done within 24 hours. You have to give information about it, but still protect the child's or the alleged perpetrator's identity.
And then the parents and employees are notified also in that building.
Correct. Yep. And it also includes bus. So if students are on a field trip or on transportation, it includes the bus
Okay.
for notification.
Any questions of anybody of the committee?
Nope.
Moving along. Policy 805.1, relations with law enforcement agencies. In the second page, the memorandum of understanding shall comply with the state law and regulations and set forth a procedure for law enforcement agency review of the district's annual incident report required by law prior to the superintendent filing the report with the PA Department of Education, a procedure for the resolution of incident data discrepancies in the report prior to filing the report, and then we're adding a procedure for the timely coordination between the district's threat assessment team and the law enforcement agency as necessary. And it's referencing, I think, a school code, which is PA 22 PA code 10.23. Can anyone summarize who is the threat assessment team for our district?
So the threat assessment team is different by every school. It's typically the school principal, the SPO, school counselor, mental health professional, could be a teacher, could be a nurse, depending on the situation. But a threat assessment is done when a student poses a danger to self or others. So when it's self, so when it's a risk assessment, we do not relate that to the police. We relate that to medical professionals. But when it is a threat to others, then we refer to the police.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
No.
Okay. Moving along, policy 805.2, which is school security personnel. Under the delegation responsibility, we're adding meet with school employees annually to seek their input on the mandatory school safety and security training. This is relating to the superintendent designate the chief of police to serve as a school safety and security officer coordinator. So that's who's doing that. It's under our, right, correct?
Yep.
Okay. That same person is going to coordinate school safety and security meetings with the school and building leadership, at least on a quarterly basis. And then moving down, what the coordinator shall be, or what they shall have. The school safety and security coordinator must complete any additional continuing education as required by the school safety and security committee. And I'm gonna just read let me see. I think that there was one other thing, if I'm not mistaken. This was I had a question on this one, and I wanted to make sure. I'll just read the last line that they're adding. On the next page, an attendance report of the school and building personnel present at each school safety and security meeting, including yearly attendance totals. Okay, so now, first, is there any committee questions? I don't want to control the meeting. Is there anyone from the committee have a question? Okay, I have a question. Our school safety and security coordinator is our chief of police, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we're just doing this to make the law, to comply with law, is for what I'm getting at, correct? We're just adding these terminologies to add to the law.
So they updated school code to basically say that there must be a quarterly check-in with each principal, that you have for all of the trainings that are mandated through Act 55. You have to have sign-in sheets and attendance sheets at all of these meetings.
Okay, that's all. Okay. Any questions?
No.
Moving along. Policy 140.1, which is extracurricular participation by charter, cyber charter, and private school students.
Can I interrupt you really quickly?
Yes.
So this is, we have to do this one again. This should be really familiar to all of you on the policy committee.
Right.
So Deb Wazowski is so on top of things. We quickly changed this policy to match the new law. And then they changed the law within like 2 days of us approving the policy. Originally, it was only faith-based private schools.
Right.
And now, as they should have, they widened it to any private school.
I was gonna ask that, but you beat me to it. Thanks.
Yep.
Any questions from anybody? Okay, moving along. 702.1 is commercial sponsorship and advertising. We are adding unless otherwise agreed upon in writing, and the district shall be responsible for the construction, maintenance, and repair of any signs, poster, or other advertising materials or media approved for display on district property, including but not limited to the repair or maintenance necessitated by acts of vandalism or striking, except for advertisement displayed on the school, high school STEAM scoreboard. And then why are we doing that? Why are we striking that?
We're updating this because the way the policy reads is that any outside organization that we would be responsible for updating it. And we're saying perhaps when we move into partnerships with things like Power Ad, that they could be responsible for updating it. It doesn't always have to fall in the district. So we're adding that clause for that option.
Okay. And then down, certain advertising prohibited support of any non-commercial message or position, including personal, religious, and or political viewpoints, excluding government-sponsored health and wellness initiatives. Is that because of law?
We're adding this. This was kind of a recommendation as we reviewed the policy when we started conversations with Power Ad. This actually came from them of what they see in other policies. And basically what we're saying is that we will not do any political ads. However, if our federal government or our state government is saying, hey, vaccinate or whatever it may be, that we would help with those public service announcements that they were pushing out.
Okay. Any questions of the committee?
Those we're talking about public service announcements only then. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
All right, moving right along. We're adding policy 709, policy review committee, building security. We're striking policy 516, adding 805.2. And I assume that's to go in correlation with policies that we have already set. This is somewhere else.
Yes. So policy 708.
709.
Deb, I'm sorry, 709. Deb, I only see that we're changing a reference at the bottom.
Reference, yeah, 516 is, we collapsed all these personnel
805.2.
policies all into the 300 section. And 805.2 refers to the type of trainings that all school security personnel must have. So that's a separate policy that we already have in place. So it just was not referenced here. So while we were fixing the other policies, we just wanted to get that included in there, referencing 805.2 to do with security personnel.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions of the committee? Moving along. Volunteers, policy 916. This is, I have some questions on this, but I'll look at what we're changing. We're on page 2. There are 2 classifications of volunteers, and I'm going to read them. Position volunteer is an adult applying for or holding an unpaid position in a school or a program, activity, or service as a person responsible for the child's welfare or having direct volunteer contact with children. Examples include, but not are limited to, coaches, tutors, club activity advisor, recess or library aides, and now we're adding field trip chaperones, etc. A guest volunteer is an adult who voluntarily provides a service to the district without compensation, who 1, works directly under the supervision and direction of the school administrator, a teacher, or other member of the school staff, and 2, does not have direct volunteer contact. Examples include, but are not limited to, volunteering to assist in classroom celebrations, school assemblies, or school concerts. And then we had field trip chaperones, but we're striking that. Reading to students, collecting tickets at sporting events, working concession stands, participating in, quote, career day, etc. And that's pretty much all we're changing.
I disagree. I think it should be left the way it is, not moving field trip chaperones up to position volunteer.
Right, help me understand why based on the definition.
The definition, but by the guidelines for between a guest volunteer and a position volunteer, or when the guest volunteer doesn't need all the certifications and all, where a position volunteer does. We'll never get anybody to do field trips and all if we have to have the things such as child abuse certificates and state police, and they have to pay for them and all. So I think we're just destroying or killing ourselves when we don't have enough people to volunteer as it is. Now,
Do we know that we don't have enough people?
Huh?
Do we know that we don't have enough people? Is that a problem you've heard, that we don't get enough volunteers? Because it's not.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Well, here's a concern I have when we do that. I'm going to use a reference of my older daughter they were looking for they asked for volunteers, but the bells and whistles she had to go through to become a volunteer on the bus, and it was. I understand they should have clearances, but when you're asking a volunteer for a chaperone to chaperone a field trip, if you read this policy later on, it says they're responsible for a TB test. So someone's going to chaperone a trip to the Philadelphia Zoo, say, with a 5th grade class. We're going to require them to get full clearances and a TB test for a field trip during the day.
So it really goes back to the definition, and it says a position volunteer is a person responsible for the child's welfare or having direct volunteer contact with children. A chaperone absolutely has direct volunteer contact with children and is responsible for the child's welfare. I mean, typically on field trips, the teacher is not supervising the chaperones. The chaperones take a small group and go, your example of the Philly Zoo. So you as a chaperone might take a group of 4 or 5 children around to the Philly Zoo. So based on the policy, I'm sorry?
I disagree with that. The teacher should be, he's the person in charge of it and would have a jurisdiction over the guest visitor.
I've never seen a field trip run that way, Mr. Andrews. I've never seen a field trip. I mean, very honestly, then we probably don't need chaperones if the expectation is that the teacher takes the entire class with them through the entire.
The teacher takes the entire class. I said he's responsible for the chaperone. The chaperone can still take the kids. But you're adding a big cost to the chaperone.
But in doing that, they're responsible for the child's welfare.
And who's going to pay for this?
Well, the regulation
certifications and the history report.
Those are free. You can get those free as a volunteer, George.
Thank you.
What I'm concerned with is the TB test, because you're requiring them to get a TB test which is a medical thing. And the position is all we're asking the position volunteer for is PA child clearance and PA state police criminal history, which any parent can do online for free and say they're volunteering for the school district. I'm more concerned with the fact that we're now going to require them. Somewhere in there it was required. I think a TB test is required.
Yep.
And why is that?
So I mean that goes right back to PA code of people working in schools and volunteering in schools, but the position volunteer, the reason we're moving it is because of the definition. So a field trip chaperone is responsible for the child's welfare and has direct contact with the child. It's not like a homeroom parent that comes in and helps with a party in the classroom where the teacher is there. This is that they're taking children for hours around a off-site location and they're responsible for that child. I mean, some of our trips go to New York City and these adults are responsible for our children. Shouldn't they have background checks? The
I'm not, I'm
TB
not,
test,
I'm not
the
questioning the
TB
background check.
test, I can't do anything about that. That's embedded in. But to me, as a parent, I would feel safer knowing that we had some sort of vetting process for our volunteers that are going to be alone with my child.
I don't have a problem with all of the background checks. That's one thing.
I don't either.
Is there a grant? Is there a source that the TB test could be covered if the volunteer had no other way to cover it?
Not that I'm aware of, but we could certainly look at it.
I'm just thinking that if that's an available thing, if someone doesn't have coverage and they specifically would like to be a volunteer with their child's class, you would hate to say this is the one reason they can't. So if we can at least explore something.
Yeah, let me look into it and see. We also might have something set up through HR. I don't know one way or the other to be able to say whether we do or not.
Right.
And question,
Okay.
how long are we, how long is a TB test good for? We don't have a determination of how long a TB test is good for. If a parent says, I had a TB test 8 years ago, why do I need one now?
So it would have to be a new one, but then once they get it and they show it, unless there's a break in service, we wouldn't need an updated one. It's just like with a personnel.
So what's considered, I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just saying is what's considered a break when you say a break in service?
More than a year without any kind of contact. So for an employee, it's if you go more than a year without working in a school district, you would have to get everything fresh. This would be as long as they stayed on the volunteer list, and we would create a process that we would board approve volunteers every year. As long as they stayed on the volunteer list, they wouldn't have to get another one.
So
I could also add, if it's
go ahead.
helpful, that in the school health code, the reason this is in here as well is it's required of any adult that has direct contact with the children for more than 10 hours in a week. So even if we were to try to avoid that need, we would have to be absolutely certain that no field trip duration of contact exceeded 10 hours. And I can say, Mr. Snyder might know even better, I don't know that that's always the case. Some of them are long, and then we'd be in a back and forth. So I just wanted to give that background. I did double check it while we're sitting here because I knew there was a time constraint. I just couldn't recall what it was, but it's that 10 hours per week contact with children that would require of any adult.
Okay. And we have a volunteer list?
You will.
Oh, we're going to have one.
Yep.
So you have to, so a parent would have to apply to be on, is that in this policy anywhere?
Be an
or is that
internal,
going to be a internal
it would
policy?
be an internal policy practice that we do of getting, so we would start meeting with our PTAs, PTOs, our parent organizations, start having the conversations that we've adjusted the policy for chaperones. And what I'd like to do, and what most districts do, is they get parent volunteers board approved every year. And it's a running list. So somebody manages that list. In my last district, I think there were 900 people on it.
Okay, I see that. I'm sorry, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have been as concerned about this. Okay,
No, ask questions. These are good questions to ask because we are changing it. The reason for the change, honestly, as we were reviewing this, because we're spending a lot of time reviewing our field trip policy as well. This came up based on the definition of responsible for the child's welfare.
So basically, this applies to pretty much any parent that spends more than a few hours in our school. So if PTO parents are volunteering all long hours, to do, say, book sales, and they're in there for 3-4 days in a row, they have to be on that volunteer list to be in our district. What you're saying?
They are not responsible for the child's welfare. No. So a book fair it would be a guest volunteer, not a position volunteer, because a guest volunteer is not responsible for the child's welfare. They're just assisting the student choosing a book. It's not like they're walking around the Philadelphia Zoo with the child for 4 hours as their chaperone, as the person who's responsible for them. At a book fair, the teacher is still responsible for them.
Okay. I was just trying. So Okay, that's cool. I'm just trying to wrap myself around it and see.
Yeah.
Because I myself I have clearances, and I was involved in DECA this past week as a chaperone. So I would have to be on that list if we had the list, which I had to prove my clearances, and I had to get a TB test for that. But it still costs money. I'm just worried about parents wanting to be involved that maybe, I agree with Debbie, that can't afford a TB test.
Let me see if there's a way around it, through
Write
whatever.
something with St. Luke's. If they go to St. Luke's, they can do
Correct.
some kind of thing.
When we happen to have a partnership with them, so let me investigate that.
Thank you. Any questions of the committee other than that?
Yeah, I just have a,
Okay,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you
Go
go.
ahead, Debbie. Let Debbie go
No,
first.
go ahead. Go on.
I was just wondering if there's a way that we can just simplify it for individuals who want to be chaperones. For me, I know what Act 151 and Act 34 are, because I have to get them. But if a chaperone were to say, okay, you need your PA child abuse certification, and then, because I'm looking on our website, and we do have where you go into the website, but we have them listed as acts. So if we can just kind of clarify that a little bit more for the chaperones, so they know which clearances that they would need to acquire in order to be the chaperone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we will probably
Okay.
create, Eric, hold on, I see your hand is up. We'll probably create a packet for chaperones that would have all of this information, and kind of our building principals would hand it out in the beginning of the year when they
Okay.
do orientation, things like that. So yes, but I do think simplifying it would be great. Eric, what
just
did you want to say?
when you cross-reference, it's just easier when what you're looking at is the same as what you're looking at on the
Yep.
other thing. Right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no, you'll be happy to know that we're already working on that as part of our onboarding process, not just for employees, but for volunteers as well with our human
Awesome.
resources team. That's why you might have noted on our clearances page, we've recently categorized all of those into an accordion format so that we can drive people right to the clearances they need based upon their position, including volunteers. We just didn't get to the volunteers yet. We're working through it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Debbie, did you have something?
No.
Okay. And George, is that good? You clear with that now? Okay. I guess you're clear with it.
George is not present at the moment.
Oh, George went offline?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Moving right along. Let's move right along then. Moving right along, we have a policy that we're looking to review, which is the use of facilities policy. I think
So may I jump in?
Yes, I was going to pass over to you since you have some things you would like to discuss.
So we are a very, very generous school district with our facilities. And you as a board have done a wonderful job of really writing a really detailed policy. However, what we're finding is that organizations that are listed as class 3 are allowed one event, or we're allowed 8 hours a year of an event where we pay for personnel. And then anything over that 8 hours, they would pay personnel costs. It is very kind. A lot of these organizations are using our facilities for fundraisers. And this is for weekend events. They're using it for fundraisers, and they're raising funds for whatever their cause is. So let's say a local charity, and not to call it out and not saying that we don't want to be supportive of local organizations, but Relay for Life is asking to use our facility. It is a Saturday event. They need it at least 10 hours, and then it's going to go longer than that. So we pay the first 8 hours, but it's $1,500 for us in just personnel costs to have that 8 hours for free. So we're almost donating our time. And while I love Relay for Life and we want to support cancer research, we also want to support the United Way. We want to support Big Brothers Big Sisters. We want to support the YMCA. We want to support BYA and the Stallions and ESYA, and on and on and on and on. We're gifting these organizations our labor fees. And it's expensive. And we're currently in a situation with a very, very significant budget deficit. So is this one way to start or stop hemorrhaging these fees and allow the organizations who are raising funds to pay for personnel on the weekends.
So you referenced class 3. Is that the only classification you're referencing, or are you classing all you're including all classes?
No, only class 3 has that. So class 2 is school related. I'm completely fine with us doing that for school related. Our PTAs, our PTOs, class 3 is local nonprofits. So I'm suggesting that we alter it or consider altering it. Deb did a really nice job pulling up local policies. We're the only district, we weren't able to get our hands on Stroudsburg, but we're the only district locally that does not charge for, that gives 8 hours free. So what we believe is happening is that organizations know this and they're using our facilities a little bit more frequently because they're able to raise more funds.
I know this was a sensitive subject for all the years I've been on the board.
Always.
I was there for 06, 07, 09, 017, 18, and then, you know, it's there for a lot of the changes. You know, we've always agreed that, you know, we've always been on the assumption that our schools are owned by the public. However, I always say that no matter what we do, the taxpayer will pay in some way. Because if we say we're going to charge that organization, those people are local taxpayers. Either way, it's going to cost. But I see what you're getting at as far as as you know, employment costs and so forth. Anyone on the committee have any suggestions? Deb?
Yeah, I wanted to ask the question of the class 4 rate. We revised all those rates to be consistent with what today's expense would be.
It has not been revised since 2022.
Well, that would be the first thing I would say we should do, is start maybe from that end and go forward. I don't disagree with Keith. I do think that we're generous when we say you can hold up to 2 events as a class 3. And perhaps it's we split the cost for the first time they do it for the first 8 hours. And then it becomes their full responsibility, any subsequent events. And I'm trying to give organizations a little bit of leeway to kind of plan for these costs.
I don't disagree. And for our class 3 organizations, what they're doing is they're supporting our community. So I get this. I'm just trying to kind of be as fiscally responsible. So I'm wondering, Deb, instead of it saying, because right now it says the first 2 events per school year at 4 hours each, to bring it down to maybe 1 event 4 hours as opposed to 8 hours.
That's your translation of my suggestion.
Yes, I'm asking if that's
you've channeled it. You've channeled my suggestion well.
50%. So
I agree.
I can see that. I mean, you know, this has been an ongoing concern of boards for many years, that we try to be we try to serve our community any way we can, because our students benefit from it in a charitable way, learning about charities and responsibilities and community involvement. It's a good thing for our students to see. You know, I relay back to the fact that maybe we can look and adjust maybe personnel to have work weeks other than Monday through Friday. I brought that up for 20 years.
But our custodians do. Our custodians work, some work Monday through Friday, and others work Tuesday through Saturday.
So then why, if they're there on a Saturday, if that's part of their day, would that be extra for us then? That was always been a discussion. If the custodian is there doing their work.
They have other work. So if you think of if you think of a major event that's going to attract 500-600 people, and the garbage that would need to be cleaned up, it's not just one custodian, it's more than that, and you also need security.
Okay. Well, maybe we can draft that into the policy to say if it's above and beyond a certain thing, you're responsible for these costs.
Well,
Would be above and beyond, and what would the cost be?
Well, that's my point. What is, I mean,
If it's above and beyond one person,
it would be the cost of that.
I'm being facetious about, you know,
Okay.
it's, you know, if you have any more than one person, they're going to have extra work to do. I don't know. I think that if we say, if you have this event and we'll split that cost, and if it goes beyond, they know they were already going to absorb that cost. And this mostly applies to weekend issues or later at night, correct?
It is not, it's only Saturday issues. It's not, so
Okay,
in the evenings during the week, we're fine because we have people there. Sundays, we've always charged because Sunday is
Right.
extremely expensive.
Right.
It's Saturday that we're really looking at, and we give 8 hours for free. So if we bump it down to 4, the 50% model, that certainly is a step in the right direction, but still showing our community that we're trying to still support their event and their organization.
I would support your interpretation of Deb's suggestion at this point.
I like that too. So.
Okay. So what we'll do for the March meeting is that we'll update this language, and then Deb and I will look at the facilities fees and look at what it costs us and raise those based on our cost.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that everyone would expect that there would be a revision as after a period of time, which this has been a period of time.
In fact, it's been
Agreed.
3.5 years, so,
Yep.
Yes,
okay.
And we're basing this on standard hours of standard employee cost as far as hourly rate, not time, not overtime.
It is average hourly rate is what we are basing it on.
The average hourly rate at time and a half on a Saturday.
No, but see that's my point. Time and a half on. I thought we said we had employees on Saturday. They don't get time and a half on Saturday.
Maggie, I'm not so sure we do still have Tuesday to Saturday. We might want to double check that with Rob to be correct.
It's in the contract, so I assumed we did.
I don't believe we currently have anyone that works those hours. I believe he's only has Monday to Friday right now.
So Keith, I will look at that.
Okay.
Because I spent a lot of time in that contract recently, and
Right.
I know it's in there. So
I know it's in there, but whether we have them, yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
in which case, Rob better clear his Saturdays.
And shouldn't we base it on the new contract?
That's what she's saying. Yeah, that's what
Will
she
be.
said.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Any questions on that one?
Nope.
That brings us to the review of what we're going to present. So I'm going to go back in this and try and figure it all out. Oh, is there any public comment? I don't think there's any. Is there any public on here other than us?
No.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right. And that's all that question. So now I need a motion to authorize and direct the administration to post the following items and policies. And we're going to be posting. Now, a question: the sponsorship. Are we since they're the first? We're putting them right. We're not putting the. Okay, let's go through it. Let's go through each one to make sure I do it right. We're doing policy 204 attendance. We're doing policy 218.1 weapons. Policy 805.1 relations with law enforcement agencies. Policy 805.2 school security personnel. And we're including policy 140.1 extracurricular participation by charter, cyber charter, and private school students. Policy 702.1, commercial sponsored and advertising. 709, building security. Policy 916, school volunteers. And then are we including 707 in this for?
No,
public
we
review?
just
No.
wanted to bring that up for discussion. We will rewrite it and bring it back to you.
So that's the policies we're putting forward for public review. Exclude any. So I need that motion with the noted revisions for public review during the month of February and subsequent board action in March. That's it.
So
Finish this.
moved. Debbie,
Second,
All
Jason.
right. Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
All right. Any other statements, questions for everybody? No. All right. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting will be March 16th, 2026, 4:30 p.m. And who knows where we'll actually be, but we'll be somewhere that day. The way this weather's been going. Motion to adjourn.
So moved,
moved.
Debbie.
Second, me.
All right. On favor? All right. Well, thank you all for attending. I will see you all very shortly.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Real quick, Maggie,
Yes.
is the executive session the same link, the same Zoom link as the regular board meeting link?
No, it's a
I'll
separate one.
resend it to you.
Okay,
You should have gotten it, but I'll resend it.
no, I'm looking. Oh wait, nope, found you. You're all the way. You came yesterday.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
sorry.
gotcha. No, I got you. All good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in a
Bye.
minute.